Welcome to the Wholesaling and Flipping Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York. And if you're doing it already, how to grow your business. So today's topic is by request. And if you have other requests, please keep them coming. I got a few left, but I would love more requests. So any topic you want me to cover, I'll be happy to cover. And if I just covered it recently, don't worry about it because I'll just send you a link to the most recent video that answers your question. Today's topic is about permit issues in New York. How do you deal with permit issues in New York? Now, permit issues in New York are difficult. And I wish that there is an easy solution to it, but it's different in every single municipality. So I'm going to stick to Long Island for me, because that's where I operate. So a couple issues. The first issue is what needs a permit. So it's different in every municipality. For example, in the village of Malvern, if you replace two windows, you need a permit. If you replace one window, or one and then one, you don't need a permit. These are the kinds of crazy things that you need to ask. And you may or may not want to ask the actual municipality. You may want to ask somebody else who knows. But you can ask anonymously with the municipality to find out. Now, let's talk about, so even knowing what issues, what kind of work would need permit. So the most obvious, any kind of structural work, you're going to need a permit. Any kind of plumbing work, you're going to need a plumbing permit for. If any kind of major electrical work, you need an electrical permit for. So those are the things you're going to need. That's obvious, right? If you're doing adding on square footage or removing square footage, you probably need a permit for it. But again, every single place is different, and that is why it's complicated. It's complicated because every single municipality has different rules. It's not a simple thing to know. So you can ask a municipality. Very often they'll answer your question over the phone, and you don't have to give them an address. And you can ask them if I'm adding if I'm replacing a bathroom, but I'm putting direct replacement in the same exact spot, all the fixtures are going in the same spot. Do I need a permit for that or not? Those are the kinds of things you can ask without giving them an address. I would advise staying away because some municipalities are nuts about being on top of you. So that's really the second thing, is when you're doing this work. Do you get a permit or not if it's, let's say, in a gray area? So my position has always been it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And I've done a lot of work, probably some of it that did need permits, without a permit. There's also something called a maintain permit. So for a lot of the municipalities, the main purpose of this whole building department is just to get money. The difference between a regular permit and a maintain permit, a regular permit is when you say, I'm going to do this work, and I want you to be on top of it, Mr. Inspectors, and you're going to inspect the whole process. A maintain permit says, hey, I have this property and the work was already done, I just want to legalize it. The disadvantage of maintain permit is it costs a little more. They usually charge, most of the municipalities might be charged twice as much. So if it's $1,000 for a regular permit, it'll be $2,000 for a maintain permit. The advantage is it's a closed wall inspection, so they don't go into it. So if I was going to build a room, right, if I was going to take a sunroom and turn it into a regular room, and I thought, well, I cannot believe the light just went out again. Son of a, I need a new thing for this. All right, we're gonna go anyway. We're gonna do it live. So the on a maintain permit, you said, hey, I got this property and it has this room. It's a closed wall permit. They're not going to go into it. They're not going to check insulation. The electrical inspection is only going to be for whatever receptacles are available. The plumbing is only going to be for what they can see. It's advantageous, and it gives them more money. So sometimes, I'm not going to advise you to do this, but sometimes if I'm doing work, I'll file a maintain permit before the work is done, and then get the inspections after I'm done. Probably not something you should do unless you know what you're doing, but I've done that. So you got to be careful with a lot of municipalities. For example, the village of Hempstead's very tough. If you do work, you're almost certainly going to get caught. Now, what happens if you get caught doing work without a permit? You get something called a stop work order. I used to think this was a horrible thing, the end of the world. It's really not. Usually takes 30 days, at least, depends where, of downtime. But the advantage of, not the advantage, but the advantage to the municipality, the stop work order, is if you do work when there's a stop work order on a property, then it's a criminal offense, they can arrest you. So never do work when you have a stop work order. Don't even try. But I've gotten stop work orders, and they don't happen that often. So for me, you got to be careful. You have to know you should talk to your neighbors, because your neighbors can complain if you're doing work without a permit, and you don't put a dumpster in front of your house if you're doing work without a permit. And you need to use your brain and be careful when it comes to these things. But there is no simple solution to how to navigate permit issues. There are people called expediters. Most of them stink. Most of them don't really expedite, but they'll take their time to go and help you along with the process, and they'll pay, and you'll pay them a fee for that. So that's something to consider. But in general, the idea of expediting, you think is going to make it's going to go faster, very often doesn't go faster. And if you want good expediters, I can recommend a few. There are a few good ones in Nassau and Suffolk, but most are not great. But it's just something, they just understand how the process works. The honest ones will tell you, listen, I'm good in this area, I can't do anything for you in this area. The liars will say, I can do everywhere. That's a little tip. But, there's a lot of gray areas of work that may require a permit, that you may do work without getting a permit. And again, my feeling is it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. It depends where, though. There are places where it's easy to get a permit. If it's easy and it's quick to get a permit, I'll get a permit for it. But there are places like Town of North Hempstead, you can wait 9 months to get a permit. That's insanity. So there are places where the risk of getting caught is, even if you do get caught, it'll still be cheaper for you than if you went about it the right way, which is a horrible thing. And a lot of municipalities don't realize that people like us are going to find the least expensive, quickest way to do things, regardless of what the rules are. And that's the truth. If they make getting a permit simple, and they make the inspection process simple, then everybody would adhere to the rules. Not everybody, but most. But if you make it difficult, then it's not as simple. So, and there are places, and the person who requested this had a situation in, I think in Westchester County or Rockland County or Orange County, where the municipality changed the rules in the middle. So he bought a property, it was fine, and then the municipality changed the rules where anytime a housing and building search was run, they had to do an on-site inspection. And they did an on-site inspection after he bought it, was about to sell it, and they found the problem with his deck. There are villages like that. You need to know that, right? There's a village next to me, Cedarhurst, where anytime you need a housing and building search, that means anytime you're going to sell it to an end-user buyer, the end-user buyer is going to run title, they're going to order a housing and building search, and then they're going to do on-site. And if there's anything illegal there, wrong, unpermitted, they're going to hit you with it. Some moron near me in Cedarhurst took a single family, made it into a two-family, clearly not legal, and is trying to sell it for a very high number, and he's never going to sell it until he changes it back to one family. It's pretty sad that the guy didn't know that Cedarhurst is an on-site inspection village. So the question you get a lot with these permits is how can you have an unpermitted addition if you're going to sell it to an end-user buyer? Isn't the end-user buyer going to realize that this bathroom isn't permitted? And isn't that he going to have a problem getting a loan? I was in the mortgage business for 17 years, and I can tell you, if there's an open permit or an open violation, that's a title problem. If there's something unpermitted, that's not a title problem. I recently bought a property at a pretty good discount because there were 2 illegal bathrooms there. And the seller tried to sell it, and the buyer that they wanted to go to contract with wouldn't buy it. But there are plenty of buyers that don't care. So it's not really a title problem if there's unpermitted work there. The problem is if there's an open violation or open permit, a permit to do the work from a long time ago. Then it's got to be dealt with. It's got to be taken care of. So most lenders don't care if there's no open permit, no open violation. Some do, but very few. Really small little savings banks where you get some crazy attorney who feels like he's got to look at the a survey and compare it, or a artist, whatever. Crazy people. 99% of the time, it's not going to be a problem. So again, that is the recap. If you like these videos, click like. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe. Go to howtoflipnewyork.com if you want to find out different ways that I can help you. And thank you for watching. And I got to figure out what's with this light. This light is not staying on. It really stinks. Sorry.